Hello everyone, today we will talk about the transit of Neptune. Transiting Neptune is in opposition to natal Venus. How transiting Neptune will behave in opposition to natal Venus depends on the position of natal Venus. This transit may be more prominent in your life if you already have planets in aspect to your natal Venus. But the basics are as follows. Your romantic relationships are going through changes at this time. This period will be very difficult in your relationships, both personal and professional, and the effects will be quite confusing. In your existing partnerships, you become extremely idealistic about how the partnership should work, simply placing unrealistic expectations on your partner and being disappointed when they don't pan out. So, love relationships are the main causes of difficulties. But even if something is wrong in your primary relationship, it is still very difficult to pinpoint the problem. Such a confused situation will bring a period of tension and challenges for your experiences related to love, relationships, court processes and decoration. Tensions arise from unrealistic expectations that then bring disappointment. This unreality represents a potential threat and has a profound impact on your romantic encounters, partnerships and artistic expression. There will be so much going on in your mind that eventually you will not realize that you are being tested, leaving you very confused. If you want to change your relationship with those who ask you to trust their intentions, it would be best to reconsider the meaning of that partnership as a whole, because now it is very difficult to distinguish fact from fantasy and you should be careful when you commit. If you are not currently involved in a love relationship, it is best to postpone the entrance itself until the period when this astrological influence is over, because disappointment usually happens when the romantic clouds have passed and you clearly see the truth. The truth in which it is very possible that your partner is cheating on you in some way or that the romance is simply an illusion. It is important to wait until all is clear before making a permanent commitment to a new relationship. Although the natures of the planets are compatible, Neptune itself represents dreams, idealism, spirituality, and sometimes illusions, and when it is in opposition to Venus, the planet of love, harmony, and court processes, it will create confusion and cloud the entire situation, so you will need greater clarity. As we have already stated, this period brings enchantment, increased sensitivity, romantic idealism, but also confusion, disappointment, and emotional boundaries that become blurred. Changes occur because you are extremely dreamy, idealistic, and passionate in any relationship that relates to your feelings. Confusion is normal and uncomfortable, and once you get out of this cycle, you'll have a better idea of how you feel. If you are not involved in a personal or professional partnership, Neptune alone will bring you a certain type of partnership, but again, you will be very confused about what you want from that partnership and you will constantly question their motives. You will end up getting swept away by the romantic nature of new partnerships, ignoring the advice of your conscious mind or your highly verbal friends. Confusion in your romantic relationships is inevitable due to this lack of clarity, and feeling lost and disillusioned is one of the primary effects of this transit. These powerful energies, where the spiritual and dreamy Neptune opposes the planet of love and beauty Venus, bring in most cases problems with trust. If you are married or in a romantic relationship with someone, one moment you will feel a wave of positive emotions towards that person, and the next you will feel very unhappy. Your feelings move from one extreme to the other, because you are simply not satisfied with anything less than a fairy tale that shines with the magic of an intense love affair. Other people will probably think your behavior is crazy, but they won't sway you from your course. In work-related partnerships, they will knock you off your feet with promises of financial success and magnificent business projects, because you are more susceptible and ready to be deceived. Your fantasy of wealth will blind you to practical problems, and individuals will not even question the other person's motives. However, it will be difficult to try to solve any problem when you are not sure of the cause. Especially unrealistic or idealized expectations from your partner. However, if you can maintain a balance between fantasy and reality, you will reap creative benefits and have more interesting relationships. It is extremely important that you avoid ventures that you know are dubious and be very careful about deliberately deceiving others. Be very practical in your business partner relationships, because your financial base is unstable and vulnerable during that time. Your attitudes are highly unrealistic and damage your relationships as you project idealistic fantasies onto other people. Falling madly in love with someone while this transit is active is not good, because you don't see what flaws that person has. After the astrological influence begins to decline, you will gradually begin to see the other person in the most realistic way, so it is better to postpone the wedding or some other big commitment. And if you are not satisfied in your existing relationship, do not blame the other person because it is not in accordance with your expectations. Although you will suffer, emotionally and/or physically, it is best to wait. The fog will clear and the situation will become clear. The key is to face the situation honestly and try to resolve it through communication or other means, instead of fooling yourself. Understanding these challenges will certainly help individuals navigate this transit more effectively. Try to talk honestly about your dissatisfaction and try to find a solution. Be honest. Avoiding open communication is another consequence of being ambiguous and reserved. This trend will only complicate things, because neither you nor your partners see the purpose of talking about all issues. In this way, you risk misunderstandings. Even if you think you agree, you'll find out later that it's not true at all. If you have a pending lawsuit, it is best to postpone any litigation until the transit has passed. Starting any new legal process at this time will be problematic. Misunderstandings will arise because you do not see clearly, leading to disappointment when hidden falsehoods or frauds are discovered. The process will most likely end in favor of the opposite party. In any case, try to turn to your senses, which are now sharper. You prefer beauty, and all forms of art will appeal to you more than usual, although those involving movement and sound will have the strongest effect. Remember that each transit brings its own unique energy and lessons, so embrace this time as a period of growth and transformation in certain areas.